morning, guys. It's Sports World. We're back. I'm Sean Sullivan.
I'm Kyle Eckerfield.
All right, as you can see, things are a little different in here.
Just a little bit.
Unfortunately, we have this set because ours fell victim to the budget cuts, if you remember anything about that. So we're working with this, but we'll try to get something new. So a lot's happened since we've been gone. So let's go through a short list of those. We can't cover them all because it'd take forever. But here's a short little list. The Dallas Mavericks won the NBA championship,
The St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series.
which means the Texas Rangers lost in the World Series again.
Ugh, that hurts. The San Francisco 49ers became relevant for once.
Al Davis passed away. Sorry, Oakland.
The Colts MVP was Peyton Manning, which is an obvious by their 3-13 record without him.
All right, Harbaugh.
Then there was the LSU and Bama. They had a classic defensive battle, and it was a great preview for the national championship game.
USC quarterback Matt Barkley actually declared that he will be back for his senior year.
Then in the LSU-Bama game for the national championship, it actually became a boring one.
Yes, it sure did. The Houston Texans played in their first ever playoff game and won that game.
Congratulations to them. The Green Bay Packers were the one and done after they went 15-1.
Yeah, pretty sad there. Alex Smith to Vernon Davis in the NFC divisional round game became the catch 3.
49ers were 2 special team fumbles away from the Super Bowl.
Depressing. And now the big game. The New York Giants defeated the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 46. That was actually a rematch for Super Bowl 42, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
And the final score of that game was Giants 21, Patriots 17. Now, it was a fairly good game. Being a Niner fan, was kind of disappointed because I wanted my team to be there. So I kind of talked the game down a lot, but it was definitely a pretty good game. Very much a defensive game, which is something I wasn't expecting between both teams.
That's something I didn't expect. I expected it to be more of an offensive game because of what New England had been doing with their receivers and their tight ends the whole season and just breaking everybody down. And I expected it to really come down to those 2 guys again. But I mean, with Gronkowski being hurt, that whole 2 weeks before with his high ankle strain and everything else, it definitely. I mean, it was a good game, but it affected it.
Game.
Definitely.
I mean, when you have a defensive battle with the 30th ranked defense in the league and the Patriots, it was pretty good for being a game that not a lot of people on this side of the United States cared about. But let's take a look at some of the passing leaders. Obviously, Eli Manning. We'll talk about Peyton later. Eli Manning and Tom Brady. Eli Manning went 30 for 40 for 296 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, with a QBR of 103.8.
And for Brady on the other side, he was 27 for 41, went 276 yards with 2 TDs and 1 interception, and had a QBR of 91.1. And just by those right there, that's already showing that wasn't, it was a defensive game, but it doesn't look like it when you look at those numbers.
Even for those are good numbers, but not typical between those 2 quarterbacks because their passing attacks are insanely good. Speaking of passing, Hakeem Nicks led the New York Giants in receiving with 10 catches for 109 yards.
And Hernandez went for the New England with 8 catches at 67 yards and about 8.4 yards altogether.
Yep. So now, off the stats, let's talk about how we felt about the game. What was the most memorable moment that stood out to you?
The biggest moment to me was, one of the last plays that when England was driving down and going down and everything, and Wes Welker had that catch that literally was in his hands, and he just dropped it.
Yeah.
I was shocked. That's a Wes Welker catch. That is something that he should have caught, and that would have changed obviously would have changed the outcome of the game.
Yeah, Welker said himself that's a play he'll make 1,000 times out of 1,000. You can't really fault him. The pass was there, but he's also a little guy.
Yes.
Not Peyton. I'm getting all messed up here. Brady had time. He could have put it in a better spot.
Yes.
But that was definitely a game-changing moment. My memorable moment was the Mario Manningham reception late in the 4th on that last drive for the Giants, which ended up to them taking the lead and ultimately winning the game.
Kind of going back at the most memorable moments on it. I know I said my one was the Wes Welker thing, but I was want to falling back onto it is looking at when they let New England let the the New York Giants
They
walk
have-
in
have
for
that touchdown,
and
yeah.
he tried to stop.
He did, yeah.
He tried to stop, but he ended up just sitting back
Yeah.
into it and fell into it.
I think it was one of the things, he tried to stop, and he looks and he saw Brandon Spikes right there ready just to knock him in the end zone, which now you kind of got to debate whether that was the right move or not. And either way, it doesn't matter now. The Giants are the 2011 NFL season Super Bowl champions, which now I've been saying Peyton for the first part of our show, which leads me to this. Now that Eli Manning has won 2 Super Bowls, who's better, Peyton or Eli?
You know, I want to go with Peyton. I'm going to go with Peyton because you know what? He's got the numbers. He's got the ability to do it. And I think if he wasn't out this last year, I think he would have had a chance to push for it and gone for it this year. But being out and having the whole, lockout situation and all that stuff beforehand just kind of you messed with his mojo, I think.
Yeah.
And it just kind of pulled him away from it. And I mean, he still has, hopefully a couple more years that he can at least be out there. But I'm just thinking, I'm still thinking Peyton's got that ability, even though Eli's got more on for Super Bowls.
wins. Yeah.
It's just I still feel that Peyton has that over him.
I understand. I feel that too. But one thing I look at is Peyton Manning's been in the league since '98.
Right.
Eli's been in since 2004. Eli has 2 Super Bowl rings. Peyton has 1, and you don't know if Peyton's going to get another. I would say overall quarterback, the best one would have to be Peyton. He's easily the smartest quarterback ever to play the game. But I'd say that Eli is the most clutch, and Eli will he'll win more Super Bowls.
Right.
At this point, you don't know where Peyton Manning's going to be, which we'll touch on later. So it's really hard. I mean, obviously, they're both really talented and elite quarterbacks.
Well, and being brothers too, you know that they're going to be fighting it out. So
That's a pretty good bloodline in that family. On the other hand, the losing quarterback, Tom Brady, he has lost the last 2 Super Bowls, and so do you think his magic's gone?
No, I don't think it's gone.
No?
I think he just fell in bad luck just like anybody else did. I think that it was just bad luck that he fell on. I mean, he had great tight ends this year. He had great, with his receivers, period, flat out. They were just amazing. I mean, I think that they fell in hard times. It was just the right time.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, yes, it does bite that he's lost 2 Super Bowls to the same team, and it is kind of frustrating about it. But I don't think so. I think it's just gonna get right back into it, and he's gonna get some more. I mean, he's too good not to.
Yeah, that's for sure. I have to agree with you there. There's a lot, of course, they would love to get that next Super Bowl ring, but it didn't happen. But you got to remember, they've been to the Super Bowl 5 times in the last decade.
Right.
Since 2001, they've been there 5 times, which is insane. I mean, when the Niners had won their 5 Super Bowls, they were there 5 times in 14 years. So that just shows how good the Patriots have been and probably will continue to be for the next couple of years, although they are getting a little older.
Right.
But now,
I have a question, though.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think that, I mean, this is big talks. Do you think that Brady still deserves to go into the Hall of Fame?
oh, Tom Brady's first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay. What about Eli?
Eli Manning, I still think it's a little too early, but any quarterback that has multiple rings is almost a shoe-in.
Okay.
I mean, you got to look at it that way, and you think if he goes another 8 years or so,
Right.
what else can he do? His numbers
Very
are
true.
already very good.
Okay.
So now let's talk about another thing. If you're not looking forward to the game, you're always looking forward to the commercials.
Of course.
And
Most people
yeah, this year's was kind of a shallow pool in great commercials to me. How did you feel about it?
I didn't have really anything that was big. I mean, I guess the worst thing about it is the internet. I mean, the internet, you can go on and you could see every single commercial before they actually hit the actual Super Bowl. And that was kind of, to me, as that's kind of like what I like to do, is be able to sit down and, watch those. If, if the game isn't great, you at least have the amazing commercials. And I already knew most of the commercials that were coming out. Like, I knew about the Audi one that was coming out.
That was the vampire one, right?
Yep.
I like that one.
And I knew about the Doritos one because, that they had that big Doritos contest, and all you had to do is just go to their website, and it had everybody on there.
Yep.
I mean, and that's kind of, I wish they would have hid those to not allow, everybody else to know what those commercials were.
Yeah, I understand that. I also feel like they kind of almost questioned our intelligence, because I know there's a couple of them that they pushed as being new commercials for the Super Bowl that I hadn't seen before. I believe there's the Camaro one when the kid's graduating and he thinks he gets a Camaro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great commercial, but I saw it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah,
So
see, that's...
There's a couple commercials that stood out to me, which my favorite one was the M&M's one,
Okay.
where the red M&M strips down into his milk chocolate and dances to LMFAO.
Right.
And then also the Ferris Bueller's Day Off spoof was a good one as
Okay.
well. But other than that, there's no main thing. So why don't we actually check out that M&M's commercial? We got it queued up for you guys, so check it out.
So then I said, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm flattered that you love chocolate, but I'm here strictly in a professional... What's wrong with him?
He thinks you're naked.
My shell is brown. It just looks like my milk chocolate is showing. Only a fool would think I'd actually show up naked.
So it's that kind of party. Hit it!
I'm sexy and I know it.